This is a class that's focused on digestion. And so you probably know that when you're very stressed or very anxious, one of the first things to suffer is your digestive system. And that's because when our bodies, our nervous systems are in fight and flight mode, it's very, very difficult for the body to digest what we're eating. And so we need to shift the body into its what we call the parasympathetic nervous system mode, which is our rest and digest. That's where all the healing takes place. That's where all the digestion takes place. So yoga is a really good way of taking the body into that mode, but yoga also has a number of postures that really sort of stimulate the stomach and the bowel. So we're twisting and we're moving in a way that is really helping our digestive system. So we're going to start from seated today, and I might recommend that you take a cushion or a block or something and just sit yourself up, because we really want to have a really nice straight spine. When we collapse like this, you can see even as I do that, this whole area gets squashed. So that's not going to help with our digestion at all. So sitting up nice and tall and making some space here is a great place to start. So lengthen up through the crown of your head, root down through your sit bones and relax your shoulders away from your ears. And we'll close the eyes for a few moments and we're just going to connect to the breath. So as you close your eyes and you start to draw your attention inwards, just notice how your body feels. You might feel into that stomach region and the belly region and see if there's any sensations there. And we're going to start this class with a few nice deep belly breaths. So when we breathe down into the belly, we're allowing the diaphragm to stimulate our abdominal organs. So if you could direct your breath down and have a sense of filling your belly up, that's the diaphragm pressing down. And then as you breathe out, nice long slow breath out, feeling the diaphragm, and you might not feel it, but the diaphragm is pushing up more into your chest as we empty out the belly. So inhaling, the belly pushes out, and exhaling, the belly gently draws in as we press that air out. And this might not come naturally to you. It doesn't come naturally to a lot of us. But just see if you can keep your focus there. See if you can establish that belly breath. And we'll take a few more nice, long, slow breaths here. And just knowing that every time we take these deeper breaths, and they don't have to be bigger breaths, remember, they're just filling down to the base of the lungs, that we are stimulating that whole abdominal area with that diaphragm muscle. So let's just take a few more breaths. Breathing in through the nose and breathing all the way out. And we're just trying to keep that nice long spine so we're not collapsing, we're not scrunching up. And take another, just a breath or two there. And we're going to start to move just by beginning to, from the sit bones, just start to let the body move forward and over to one side. You can do this with your eyes closed, drawing back a little bit and over to the other side. You can open your eyes if you want. Just nice, slow, circular movement. And as you get used to the sensation of that, you might make that a little bigger. You might want to pause and reverse and come back. And you can be doing this with the legs out straight. If having your knees bent isn't comfortable for you, stretch your legs out long. A few more nice big slow circles. Think about kind of stirring a pot. And We're just stirring everything up a little bit inside. Get those digestive juices flowing. Maybe come back around in the other direction a time or two. And then start to make your way back to center. Let's perhaps change the cross of the legs. If you've got your legs crossed, just cross them over. We're going to keep uncrossing and recrossing them just to vary things up a little bit for the sides of the feet and the knees. And now what I want you to do is to cross your arms in front of you. You're going to bring the opposite hand to the opposite knee. And we're going to draw the belly in. So pull your navel in towards your spine. And then start to take your chin down towards your chest. So really pull the belly in. You can let the pelvis tilt back slightly. And now take your left arm off that right knee and start to rotate your torso, and you're going to reach back to the wall behind you. So find a nice twist. We're then going to reach that arm up alongside your ear, and then you're going to come down sideways. So you're going to be taking that right elbow over to that right knee a little bit into a side bend. And then just stay there for a moment, extend through the fingers, and then start to roll forward again and cross the arms, chin to chest. Next, inhale, taking that right arm out, rotating, and then reaching up and over, and then side bending. So keep that left elbow soft and side bend. And then start to circle forward again, elbow in and hand to knee. Let's go to the left again. So we're crisscrossing out to the left, up towards the ceiling, and then exhaling over. And at the end of that exhale, maybe rolling in. Next inhale, right arm. And then reaching up. Take another inhale. Side bend, and then roll forward, exhale. Inhale, reaching up, taking another inhale, and then exhaling over, and then curling in. To the right side, reaching up. Side bending over, just let your breath do whatever feels the most natural for you. There's really no right or wrong. Curling forward. One more each side. Inhale. Reaching up, side bending, and then rolling in. Other side. Inhale. Reaching up, find that length. Side bend and roll in. Nice job. Curl yourself slowly up and just give your shoulders a little roll. Again, we're going to change the cross of the legs just to keep things varied. And again, you can have the legs out in front, it's perfectly fine. We're going to take a nice deep breath and inhale and reach up. And this time, really take a moment to lengthen up through the sides of your waist, through the crown of your head. Find that extension there through the spine and that little stretch into the belly muscles. And we're going to rotate to the left, so turning your torso to the left. And then let your hands come down. So your right hand can rest onto your left knee, the other fingertips come down to the floor behind. Look into the direction of that twist. And we're going to take a few breaths here. We're going to see, can we breathe into the belly as we find this twist. So drawing the breath down to fill the belly up. Exhaling to release. And again. Directing the breath down into the belly. One more breath. And then slowly coming back to center, extending the arms up. And then twisting in the other direction, hands can come down, head can look over the shoulder, find that twist, and then find your belly breath. just going to reach up one more time, find that length. And this time, can you lean forward a little bit? So from your hips, lean forward and bring the hands to the floor. We're going to walk the hands forward. You might not be able to get very far forward. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to fold in and take a breath. You might be feeling this more in your hips or your knees than you are feeling anything around your belly, and that's okay. We might get a little hip stretch and glute stretch as well. And then you're going to walk the hands back, and we're going to uncross and recross the legs on the other side. So opposite leg in front. Again, reach up, lean slightly forward, so let the belly come forward and let the hands come to the floor, and then just curl in a little bit. So again, you might be able to walk the hands away from you and soften down, or you might want to stay a little bit higher and just breathe there. A couple of breaths. And then walk your hands all the way back up. Now we're going to take the legs out in front. So I'm going to turn off to the side. You can stay maybe on your cushion, but just wriggle to the front edge of your cushion or your block if you're using a block, so that you get this slight forward tilt of the pelvis. And that kind of really helps when we slump back like this and we try to do a forward bend. You see how the belly is drawing in. We want the belly to be soft. So if you can get that little forward tilt of the pelvis, and what we might actually do here is bend the legs and think about bringing your belly towards your thighs. Okay, so you kind of bringing them in towards each other, trying to get the thighs and the belly as close as you can. We're going to bring the hands then underneath the thighs. So nestle in. And then you're going to actually walk or slide the feet away, but trying to keep that connection of belly and thighs. So depending on how your hamstrings feel, you might get this far and you might stay there, or you might go a little bit further into that forward fold, but just leaning forward. Keep lengthening through the crown of your head and then softening down on the exhale. And if you're not really feeling anything kind of around that belly area, you could take another cushion here and kind of nestle that in and lean over there. And that way you get a little kind of squeeze, a little massage into the belly. And we take a few breaths. So we're only going gently, we're not doing anything crazy with this class, just a little bit of stimulation for the belly and a little bit of calming for the nervous system to take us into that rest and digest mode. So take one more nice deep belly breath there. And then you're going to start to slowly sit yourself up, and if you used a cushion there, you might take that cushion out of the way, and we'll come off the cushion that we sat on as well. And we're going to come around now onto our hands and our knees. So spin yourself around, take your knees underneath your hips and your wrists straight out in front. So wrists are underneath your shoulders. You're going to spread the fingers nice and wide and push the floor away. And we're going to work through cat-cow. Cat-cow, a really nice way of stimulating our digestive system, our abdominal area. So when you start to take the tailbone down, if you can drive the tailbone down and pull the belly in and kind of draw your navel in towards your spine, and then as you push into your hands now, draw the front of your ribs in and take your chin to your chest. So we're pulling the whole of the front of the body in towards the back body. And now you're going to start to lift through your tailbone. Soften your belly, so let your belly relax. Dropping the belly towards the floor, and now taking the chest kind of forward through your arms and lifting your head. And just stay here for a moment. And what I want you to do here is very subtly drag the heel of your hands towards your knees. As you lift the head, feel that nice stretch into the front of that abdominal area. And then we go back again. We're tucking the tailbone under. We're drawing the navel towards the spine, pushing the floor away, chin to chest. Now find your breath. Maybe inhaling as you let the pelvis tilt, you're lifting the tailbone, softening the belly, chest moves forward, head lifts, that little pull of the hands. exhaling, we're really drawing the belly in again. Squeeze that navel towards the spine. One more nice long inhale. Stretching the whole front of the body. And then exhaling again. Drawing everything in. One more time. And then come back to a neutral table pose. And I want you to sit back onto your heels for a moment, and then we're just going to slide off one way or the other onto our bum again and slide the legs out in front. Okay, so we're just going to do a boat pose. Boat pose is a great pose for kind of bringing a bit of fire up in the belly. So this is going to give us a little bit of work and contraction of the abdominal muscles. So this is good for kind of toning that area as well. So you probably already know this pose. We're going to hold on to the backs of the thighs. We're going to lift up through the chest, draw the shoulders back. And you want to start to engage your belly a little bit. Draw the front of your belly in and think about the back body drawing in as well. So it's kind of a bit like a kind of corset effect. So we're giving a little squeeze. Holding on to the backs of your thighs, we're going to tiptoe the feet back. Keep that chest lifting, and then very slowly bring your shins up so they're kind of parallel to the ceiling. You can keep hold of the legs if you want, but we're going to try and work that abdominal area by just lightening that touch or letting go completely. If you've been working on this pose for a while, you might work the legs a little bit straighter. That's an option. This is working more then into the quads. And as our focus is abdominal strength, so you might want to just keep the knees bent. You might even want to keep hold a little bit. We're going to take a few breaths here. As I say, bringing up some fire in that belly. We'll go for 3, 2, 1, and then release. And just roll forwards and give yourself a hug. Let the belly come towards the thighs again. A couple of breaths there. Nice deep belly breaths. And we're just going to do that one more time. So we're going to do one more round of boat pose. So when you're ready, start to sit yourself up, and we're going to come back to take a hold of the thighs, lift up the chest, draw the shoulders back, draw the belly in, and then tiptoeing the feet back, we lift up the shins. We let go of the legs if you can. You're going to hold there. Legs can straighten if you want to. Find your breath for 3. Might find you breathing more into your chest. That's okay, because we're engaging those abdominals too. If you can, draw the breath down. 1. And then release, and again, just roll yourself in, give yourself a hug. Nice work. So we're going to come down onto our backs. So make sure you've got plenty of room behind you. And just slowly, and maybe take your time to come down, just slowly uncurl yourself down to the floor. And once you're down on the floor, we're just going to bring the right knee into the chest. So hug that right knee in. You can hold on to your shin. Let that right thigh come in towards your body. So what you're doing here is giving yourself like a little bit of a squeeze into the right side of the abdomen. And we're doing the right leg first because our digestive system kind of works that way. So we want to come up the right side and down the left side. Okay, so ascending colon and descending colon. So we're going to squeeze into the ascending colon first. And we're just hugging that right knee in. And you might take a breath in through your nose, and then on your exhale, bring your forehead to your knee. And then slowly roll yourself back down again. And you might try that with the left leg extended. So start to really press out through that left heel. And again, take an inhale through your nose, and on your exhale now, forehead to knee. Roll yourself all the way back down to the floor. You might want to take that right heel up to the ceiling, just stretch out that hamstring just because that feels nice. Maybe give that ankle a little circle. And remember, we're working to kind of get the nervous system to calm as well. So we don't just want to focus
all on the belly, but just on some, movements that feel nice just for the sake of doing them. We're then going to rebend that right knee, and I'm going to ask you to see if you can bring your hand either inside of that knee to hold on to your big toe. So I've got my first 2 fingers wrapped around my big toe. It might be that that's too much for you and you're ending up kind of reaching for the foot but bringing tension into your shoulders. If that's the case, you can hold on to the back of that thigh, or you could just hold on to your trouser leg. What we're going to do, or even your ankle, what we're going to do is we're going to lift that foot up as though we were standing on the ceiling with a flat foot. So I'm going to take a hold of my toes again. And we're going to let this right knee bend, and we're going to let that right knee come towards that outer upper arm or outer armpit. And try and just see how that all feels there. Again, we're kind of squeezing into that right side of the belly. This is like a half happy baby pose. And just take a couple of breaths there. And then you're going to let go of that and bring that foot back to the floor. And you're going to bring your left knee into your chest. So this is a wind relieving pose on the left side of the belly. You might want to take a few breaths there. Nice squeeze in towards you on the exhale. And then perhaps taking a breath in through your nose, and again on your exhale, this time bring your forehead up towards your knee. And then roll yourself all the way back down again. From here, you're going to keep hold of that leg, but extend your right leg long. So get a nice opening into that right hip there, pressing out through that right heel. Keep drawing that left knee towards your chest. And again, you might want to take another inhale, and on your exhale, forehead to knee. So as I said, these are our wind relieving poses. That's what they're actually called. And that's what they're designed to do. So, I mean, there's often jokes made about people breaking wind in yoga classes, and there's a good reason for that. And there's no harm, okay? So maybe it's a good thing if that happened for you. So we are now going to extend that left leg long and press up through that left heel and circle your ankle. Do whatever feels good for you. Take a few breaths there. And then you're going to rebend that knee. Remember, we're going inside of the knee to either take hold of the big toe or the ankle or the trouser leg or the back of that thigh. And then just taking that foot up as though you were standing on the ceiling with a flat foot. Taking a few breaths there. A little half happy baby. Breathing into your belly if you can. And then just releasing that foot for a moment. We're going to bend both knees now. And we're going to come into a full happy baby pose. So this time you lift the feet off the floor, you take the knees wide, you're going to reach through the center, either take your big toes, again, your ankles or your trouser legs, and lift up. Nice full happy baby pose. Try and let the shoulders draw back. Try and let the shoulder blades get heavy. Tuck your chin ever so slightly. You might let your knees go out a little bit wider. You might want to take just a little gentle rock side to side. Another breath or two there. Really nice opener for the hip. You'll probably feel a lot of sensation around the hip. Find a breath, that belly breath, and just remember that everything's connected, and really when we work on one part of the body, it has a knock-on effect on some other part of the body too. And this one is a great pose for just bringing you into that happy place, that happy baby place. Reminds you of maybe it doesn't remind you, because those memories are often just in our bodies, but there's a reason babies do this, because it feels good. Alright, so we're going to release the legs, let the feet come back to the floor. Just give your hips a moment and your legs there. Just feel any sensations. I can feel some circulation there in my hips, and maybe you can too. And we're going to come into a bridge pose. So bridge pose, I'm sure you probably have done before. You're going to walk your heels in towards your bum. You're going to take your arms down alongside your body and roll your shoulders back, and just ever so slightly tuck your chin. But we want to keep a bit of space under the chin and some softness in the back of the neck. So this one's going to stretch again the abdominal area. We're going to press down into the lower back to start, and then we're going to curl the tailbone off the floor, and we're going to start to lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling. So I want you to squeeze your bum, keep your thighs working towards each other, start to roll onto your upper back and lift your chest. And as you drive those feet down, just feeling that stretch through the front body. And just to accentuate that, I'm going to suggest that you raise your arms over your head and bring the backs of your hands towards the floor. Now, one of the things I really like to do in this position is take a breath in through the nose and sigh that breath out a few times through the mouth. So I'm going to take an inhale, and then keeping the hips lifted, sigh that breath out. And again, inhale. Exhale, sigh the breath out. One more time, inhale. Sigh the breath. And then very slowly start to roll your spine back to the floor and lower the arms. Place your hands onto your belly for a moment and take a few nice deep breaths there. So what we were doing there with the arms over the head, we were creating a bit of a stretch for the diaphragm. And when we sigh the breath out like that, you could probably feel the diaphragm pulling up into the chest cavity. So we're stretching the diaphragm, and any tension that you might have been holding in the diaphragm gets released, and that just allows a deeper, easier breath. So let's just take a few breaths here and see how that feels. Allowing the belly to really soften on that exhalation. You might even want to just make fists, and with your knuckles, just gently, so I'm just going to use the knuckles of my right hand, just gently in a circular movement, just rub into that belly area. So think about that kind of clockwise direction as well, so that we're not upsetting the general system, the way that it works. And just giving yourself a few moments there. Don't push in with the knuckles hard. There's no need to. Keep it really soft and gentle. And rubbing the belly can be very soothing for the nervous system as well. Just giving ourselves a few conscious moments. You can swap hands if you want. Having that intention of good digestion. Oh, that's nice. And then we're just going to finish with a twist. So I'm going to ask you to bring your knees in towards your chest and take your arms out nice and wide. I'm going to get both knees to come down to the floor on the left. I'm going to try and keep the right shoulder drawing back to the mat. I might let the head roll to the right as well. And again, finding the breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the knees back to center. I'm smiling because I can hear my belly slightly gurgling, so it's obviously done the trick for me. Both knees come down to the floor on the other side. Left shoulder rolling back, head maybe rolls to the left. I love it when a plan comes together. Few nice deep breaths there. And then when you're ready, bringing the knees back to center. And you could stay here for a few moments. You might want to go back to just gently rubbing your belly, or you might want to stretch yourself out for a nice Shavasana. I'm going to just sit myself up because I'm going to stop the video, but I want you to stay and do whatever feels right for you. And I will just say that, in terms of digestion, it also makes a difference how we eat. And I'm not going to tell you how to eat, but, just paying attention and being mindful as we're eating, and really setting that time as a priority for ourselves. And
chewing our food well, and all of those things can make a huge difference as well. But I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope that's been helpful for you. See you again soon. Namaste.